Good day, children. Today I will be talking about population interactions. What is population interaction? Population interaction is the association between organisms when they live together in an area with each other, and that they do so in a different ways. I've drawn here a table for you. You can see this. First is the mutualism, where species A will benefit and species B will also benefit. Means both are going to have the profits. Second is the competition, where one species at a loss and the other is also going to be at loss if they are going to compete for the same food or resources. We will discuss it in the next topics. Now comes your predation. When we talk about predation, we are talking about one organism feeding over the other. So definitely one is gaining, another is at the loss. Then comes your parasitism. Here again, one species is at the profit and other is at the loss. Now children, comes commensalism. In commensalism, one species is neither going to benefit and will be at no loss, but other species will gain. In commensalism, one species is at loss, but the other species will not get anything. Now coming to the detailed analysis. Now first is the mutualism. We are going to start up with mutualism. As I told you, the relationship where both the organisms benefit. Example is lichens, where a fungus is going to be living with a algae or a cyanobacteria. The algae is a plant which provides the food to the fungus which grows along with it. The fungus provides the nutrients for photosynthesis. Now coming to the next slide. Now children, second example is mycorrhiza. In this, there is a relationship between higher plants, roots, in case sometimes it is pine, in association with the fungus. The fungus can be glomus species. The fungus helps in absorption of the phosphorus, nitrogen, etc., and provides it to the plant for photosynthesis. The plants will provide the food to the fungus, and so there is a relationship between them. Now coming to the next, that is your animal and plant mutual relationships. When we talk about this, there is a very good relationship of pollinator and being pollinated. The pollinator can be an insect, butterfly, bees. It can also be higher organisms. I have discussed here only about the insects and between some plants. The plants, they provide rewards for pollination of flowers. For example, wasp and fig. The wasp lays its egg or oviposits its egg in the flower inflorescence. The flower serves as a oviposition site as well as developing seeds in the fruit. They help the larva to nourish, and when the larva has become adult, it goes out. Now a co-evolution also takes place between the species, because if one is going to evolve, other has to evolve. So both of the species of plants and wasps, they evolve together and they can survive, but without any one of them they cannot survive. Now comes children is another example, that is sexual deceit, where the plants, they deceive the animals by resembling the female, and here the males are going to mate, and doing so they pollinate. Example is the bumblebee or species of bees. The petal of orchid flower is evolved to resemble female bee. The male tries to mate with it and pollinates the flower. It is also known as to be pseudocopulation. In trying to do so, it pollinates. So here we end up these slides. Now I'm going to come to the next one, that is your competition. when I'm going to talk about competition. Competition is a relationship where one organism competes for food and other resources with the other one. So, in terms of Darwin, their interspecific competition is a potent force in organic evolution. Means organisms they develop, they adapt, and they can survive, thus leading towards organisms evolution. Now, competition is a struggle for food, as I told you, and shelter or space, and breeding between the organisms if it is limiting. Now, similar species or members, when they compete, it is known as intraspecific. The example can be the dogs competing for the food. Then comes the competition between different species. We call it as interspecific competition. Then comes your, for that, we are going to take examples. In South American lakes, flamingos and fishes, which are unrelated, they compete for the same zooplanktons of the lake for food. So this is an unrelated interspecific competition. Now coming to the next slide, interference competition. When we talk about interference competition, sometimes the feeding efficiency of one species is reduced due to interfer and inhibitory presence of other species, even if the food is abundant or more. The competition can best be defined as a process in which fitness of one species, we have learned that as R, lowers in presence of other species. Now, Gauss has explained it as in presence of a superior species, the inferior species is eliminated. Example is Abingdon tortoises in Galapagos became extinct in presence of the goats which were introduced. Because goats are better grazers compared to the tortoises, they both used to feed on the same grasses. Now coming to the another example, another case study of, and it is competitive release given by Grant in 1972. It is defined as expansion of an ecological niche in absence of a competitor. Secondly, a species whose distribution is restricted to a smaller geographical area due to presence of a superior species. It expands its distribution when the superior species is removed. Now, Connell has done this experiment in the coast of Scotland, intertidal areas, where the superior barnacle, the balanus, restricts the distribution of Catcalamus when the balanus is removed. Then the Catalamus increases its area of distribution. So this was an example where competitive release is there. When the competition has gone, the organism then increases its distribution area. Hope you understood. Now comes your Gauss competitive exclusion principle. Now again I am discussing it. If two closely related species competing for same resources, then the superior or the efficient species will survive over the inferior or the less efficient species. Now this is a wonderful, there are some good examples for it. Like humans, they have dominated over all the species. Many of the species have become extinct because of humans only, deeds of the humans like dodo, etc. Now sometimes species compete for the same resources, but they evolve mechanisms to lower or avoid the competition by first feeding on different time, or foraging pattern, or changing their foraging pattern. Now second is the different for feeding or in foraging. They actually evolve a mechanism where they feed at different time intervals or feeding on the different parts. Now comes here, it is known as to be resource partitioning, when the organisms have evolved a mechanism where they have a different foraging pattern, means they are feeding at different intervals of time, or they sometimes forage on the same tree but on different parts. Now comes here the resource partitioning was given by MacArthur. It was seen in warblers, birds living on the same tree but feeding at different time. So it led to reducing of the competition and co-evolution together. Now children comes the next interaction, that is predation. Under that, the species in which member of one species capture, kill and eat up member of other species. It is between the tiger and the deer, leopard or the deer. You would have seen it a number of times on the TV. Now former called the predator and the later is known as to be the prey. Herbivores sometimes are also to be considered as predators because they also feed on a species. Now the characters of the predator. Predators are conduits of the energy transfer. They keep check on prey population. On the conduits of the energy transfer, I will explain, like because they are part of the food chain, so they help to move the biomass as well as the energy from one trophic level to the other trophic level. They keep a check on the prey population, otherwise the prey population will increase in the case of the herbivores and they can destroy the ecosystem or they disturb it. Now sometimes the predators are also used for control of certain menace of the plants also. Now cactus prickly pear was used in Australia as a fence, but it grew in such numbers that it was destroying the ranches, and then a moth cactus feeding was used to control the prickly pear cactus. Now I am going to come to the next slide. Predators are used as biological tools during biological control or for controlling the pest population in agriculture fields. Red beetles are used to control aphids in agriculture. The species diversity also can be maintained by predators. Now there is a good example of Piscator fish, which starfish, which acts as a check on the population of the invertebrates. When Piscator fish was present, there was a diversity of invertebrates found in the American Pacific coast. But when it was removed, about 10 species of invertebrates, they became extinct in our air. Now let us come to the next. Now preys have also evolved as much as the predators have evolved. The prey, what they have evolved is they have done camouflage, where encryptations are found or colored skins are found which match to their habitat and they are not able to be seen by the predators. Chameleon as well as frogs are examples of it. Then comes your poisonous. Sometimes some butterfly like monarch butterfly, it has highly distasteful taste to the predator birds, so it is not eaten by it, and it has done it during its larval stage by feeding on certain poisonous plants and accumulating the alkaloids. Then comes your, how about the plants? The plants have also evolved to evade the predators. Their predators are the phytophagous or the plant eating animals. Now they have grown thorns on them, they have grown hairs on them, they produce poisonous chemicals also, like the case of calotropis. Here you see calotropis. Calotropis growing in the field, abandoned field, produces poisonous glycosides, and the browsing animals don't eat it. There are certain other chemicals, children, which also are produced by the plants, like nicotine, caffeine, quinine, strycine, and opium. Now you would have heard about them. These are also used by the humans for drug abuse, etc., and they are also used as medicine. Quinine is used as medicine. Now again I am now going to come to the next topic, That is your parasitism. In case of parasitism, again, one organism is benefited, the parasite is benefited, and the other organism, the host, is at loss. Now, the parasite has evolved to be host specific sometimes, like the Plasmodium, it only is going to host on the Anopheles and the humans. Then host and parasitic evolution are there. Host specific mostly is also used for one type of host. So now comes your host and parasitic evolution. If the host is going to evolve, the parasite will also evolve, so that the parasite does not lag behind, and to survive the parasite evolves better. Now the parasites are also divided on the basis of the host they actually live upon. Digenetic means when the host lives in two host and it completes its life cycle, like the liver fluke, which lives in the liver of a snail and the feces. Mostly it is found in the liver of the feces. Now comes the monogenetic parasites, which complete its life cycle in one host. So Taenia solum is an example, tapeworm. Now children, we are going to go to the next slide, the adaptations which are found in the parasites. As I have told you, the parasites, they develop and evolve. They actually have evolved adhesive organs like suckers and hooks by which they can cling to the host and they can feed on them. They have lost their digestive organs and systems. They are highly reproductive. They can produce a number of eggs so that they can survive in the host body. Then they are also having protective outer layer of the skin. They also secrete mucilages. Sometimes they produce heparins, anticoagulants. There are so many adaptations. I have only discussed 4 here in your ecosystem chapter. Now coming to the next one is the need for the vector to spread into the host. They have also developed the vector. They also go inside the vector's body, and the vectors are the organisms which spread the pathogens or the parasites, like Aedes mosquito does in the case of the dengue virus, and the malarial parasite Plasmodium is spread by the Anopheles female. Now, based on the feeding pattern, the parasites are based on the ectoparasites, which feeds on the outer bodies. The lice is on the hairs is the best example. Mites and ticks are also the examples. Then inside the body, some of the parasites are found, like the endoparasite. They live and feed inside. Example is the tapeworm, liver fluke. Then other parasites are also there, several bacteria, protozoans. Now comes your plant parasites. One of them is the cuscuta, which is also known as to be the amarbale. It has lost its chlorophyll. It derives a nutrition from the plants it clings to, but the hostorias it has got. Now comes your brood parasitism. What is brood parasitism? Sometimes a parasitic bird lays its egg in the nest of other birds. The eggs resemble the egg of the host bird, and the host bird hatches the egg and feeds the young ones. The young ones grow and leave to their mother. Now, it has been found in cuckoos, nightingales, like the quail. They lay their eggs in crow's nest, and the crow is going to rear and breed their young ones, and then the young ones go to their mother, that is cuckoo. Okay children, now I am going to go to the next slide, that is of commensalism. The commensalism is a relationship where one species is benefited and other is not harmed. Here epiphytes, or the plants which are growing on the trees, like the epiphytes growing on the mango plants or on the people plants, you would have seen that. Then barnacles are found growing on the whaleback. They are also a good example of the commensalism. Now cattle, egret and grazing cattle are found in close association. You would have seen them. Then clownfishes living in association of sea anemone is a very good example of commensalism, where sea anemone is not getting anything, and by the help of its stinging cells it can keep away the predators from the clownfish. Clownfish during on attack goes inside the body of the sea anemone. Now, last topic is Commensalism. Here one species is at loss and other species does not get benefit. Example is the Penicillium, which grows with bacterial colony and it harms the bacterial colony and kills it. So the antibodies were developed by this, studying this relationship. Thank you, children. We will in next topic will be again meeting. Thank you.